What's up, guys? We're here at Torpedo Con with the bad boy of comics, the master of Marvel, Mr. Donny Cates. What's up, man?
Hi, buddy.
Hey.
Hi. I don't know how bad I am, really, but I guess, like, comics is so boring these days that I guess all it takes is to, like, have tattoos and say fucking stuff, and you're the bad boy of comics.
Have a slight opinion and people brand you.
I'll take it. That's fine.
Though I did ever hear a good story about you that when you were internship with Marvel, that you stole an award.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's totally true. When I was an intern at Marvel, this was, oh my God, late 2010, and Marvel was moving offices into their current office. And as interns, our job was to just like carry boxes and like load things into trucks and shit like that, right? And every editor would just every day leave out boxes of stuff that they just didn't want, you know? And one of the editors, I won't say who, he put this box out. And so, you know, I'm carrying it over to the space where he put it. And I kind of looked through it, as we all did. We all kind of like picked cool shit out of it, you know. And I noticed there's an award. It's like a really cool award. And I pick it up, and it's the Diamond Jim Award for Astonishing X-Men #1 for Joss Whedon. And I don't know if he meant to put that in there. I guarantee you he didn't. But it sits on my desk to this fucking very day. And I dream of someday meeting Joss Whedon and telling him this story and having the statue with me and being like, I stole this and I have this. Because now I have a Diamond Jim Award for the same category, like years after that, like best issue of the year, you know? And so like I have both of those together on my desk, which is really cool. And I my dream is I want to do that. I want to meet him and have this statue. And then when I get done telling the story and he's like, oh, that's so funny and everything, and he reaches out to get it, I go, oh, well, no, this is mine. I stole this. This is mine now. I was like, Joss, you have enough awards. Yeah, let me have this, please.
You have a couple Emmys.
Yeah.
You'll be all right. So you went to school for art.
Yeah.
Right. How does that inform your writing?
I think that it's really important. So I started out as a penciler. I've only ever drawn 3 covers in my life, and they are all things that Todd McFarlane created. I recently, I don't know if you know this, drew a cover for Spawn that Todd McFarlane inked, which is the fucking coolest thing I've ever done in my life. But I really do think that what I got out of that experience was learning how, like, learning every inch of the trade, you know, like learning how to color a book, learning how to ink a book, learning how to, you know, do every single part of it, learning how to write a book, you know. And I talked to, I've read interviews and like heard interviews with like artists that I work with a lot, like Ryan Stegman, who's my best friend, who I work with a lot. And he always talks about how I'm quoting him here, how I'm an artist writer. That like I write for an artist, and like you can always kind of be guaranteed that if there's 4 pages of just like drawing or of just like talking, then the next fucking page is something's gonna explode, because like at a certain point you got to unleash the beast, you know, you got to give them something. But here's the thing, is you would think that me having learned how to do all those pieces and stuff, it would make me a kinder writer. It would make me like be easier on people. Okay. In fact, the opposite is true.
You're stricter.
I'm not strict. I just ask for the craziest shit imaginable, and I tend to in my head be like, I know what this entails, like, and like the guys I hire are like the top of their class, and like you got this. Like when I was working with Trad Moore on Silver Surfer Black, like Trad Moore's a fucking master. I mean, he's a modern master, and so like when I work with Trad Moore, Like my scripts on that were barely any scripts. And I mean, those scripts looked like essentially me saying like, well, who the hell am I to tell Trad Moore how to write an action scene? Like, you go fucking do your thing. And then that was fun until Dave Stewart had to go in and color it. And he was like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, hey, man, I love you and I support you. And whatever notes that you need, I'm here. But that's it's kind of a whole you problem.
Or telling Ryan Stegman, hey, man, you've got to do that whole 2-page spread from, I think it's Absolute Carnage, where the Carnages are going all over New York Street.
Well, with Stegman's my best friend, and so here's the dynamic between Ryan and I, is that if he knows that he's crushed a page, he just emails it in with no body to the email, with like nothing written at all, just the page. And I know that when he sends that in, it means that he's just like, I fucking crushed this, right? But if he texts me a page, if he's like, yo, check this out, what it means is he's like, I don't know if I crushed this. And so I look at it, and oftentimes I will tell, because he is my best friend in the entire fucking world. I will text him back and be like, hey, man, you fucked that up. Like that. That's not how I wrote it. Like like this figures off. Like this looks awkward. And he'll text me back like, man, fuck you, dude. Are you serious? And I'm like, dude, you texted it to me for a reason. And he's like, fucking fine. And then he'll email it and it's fixed and it's perfect. And then months after that, he'll cop to it and go like, yeah, it needed to be changed, and it needed to be changed. But he'll do that with me. Like I'll write a scene, you know, and he'll be like, "Hey, man, we don't need fucking 5 panels on this. I can convey these 2 panels in 1 panel. I can get both these emotions across and everything like that." And like we'll argue sometimes, but like, you know, he's right. Like you know, his vision is mine. You know,
right.
At the end of the day, what is brilliant about Ryan and I is we are best friends, but we're able to separate that from our working relationship, our marriage.
Right.
So like we can get into arguments over my script or his art and everything, but as soon as it's fucking over, I'll call him and be like, "Hey, how are the boys? Like how's the wife? Can I? Are we going to go out to eat on Saturday? Like whatever, you know. It's all good because ultimately we're working towards the same goal, which is making both of us super fucking famous and rich.
Bing. So when you sit down, you've got an idea. You're like, I'm gonna do a book. Does it start with an image? Does it start with a character? Does it start with an idea? Where do you go? Where does it live? How does those things usually, like something like God Country? Yeah. Where does that come about? Where does that come from?
You know, it's a different answer for every book,
right?
You know,
might have been a loaded question.
With like Marvel stuff, you know, because I'm exclusive. You know, I have to write a certain amount of books every month, and so like when I'm like kind of winding down on one book, they send me a whole list of like, are any of these books interesting for you? Do you have a take? You know, any of that kind of stuff. And I'll pick out, I'll be like, hey, you know what? Like Hulk. Like, you know what? I actually have had this Hulk idea in the back of my head for a long fucking time. So, like, let me go play with that, you know? But, like, on the image side, that's the kind of stuff that's just been, like, it's way more personal. Okay. And it's just, like, me keeping, like, a journal for a really long time. And like God Country specifically came out of a really bad health scare for myself, where I was hospitalized for a really long time. I almost didn't make it out of it. And when I did make it out of it, I had a lot to say about death and like what you leave behind. And you kind of filter that through a kid who grew up in Texas and fucking loves Kirby gods and giant swords and shit like that. And all kind of the alchemy of that all came together. So the answer is never really that simple, you know. It's always, and a lot of the times, I guess probably the most common of that is coming from talking to my best friends in comics. So like with Hulk, I called Ryan Otley. it was my #1 pick to come and do it. And I told Ryan, I was like Ryan, I have this idea that I want to do. It's insane. I'd really like you to come and do it with me. What do you think about this? And I spoke for like an hour and a half and like told him what it was and how fucking insane it was and everything. But then the beautiful part about it is that Ryan, with his artist brain, came back with like, dude, I love X, Y, and Z, but what if we did X, Y, and Z here and like and put this piece here and all that kind of stuff, and that's how a book is made, and that's how, you know, and like with Stegman on King and Black or that kind of stuff, it's the exact same way. All it is like people think that it's some sort of a mysterious process, but really, at least for me, it's just me and my buddies like getting together and fucking like bashing action figures together, you know?
Far more collaborative than
yeah. Well, that's what comics should be, you know? It's just like having fun with each other, you know?
Some people, you talk to some people and they seem like they hoard the scripts. It's their piece, right?
Yeah. I've never been that guy. You know, I've never been like very sacred about my like words and stuff like that. You know, I'm of the opinion of like I said earlier, like unleash the beast. You know, like if you're gonna work with a phenomenal artist and everything, like, you know, there's a reason that their name is right next to mine on a cover. You know, it's their fucking book too. Right. You know, it's not Donny Cates Presents. It's me and Stegman. It's me and Otley. It's me and Trad Moore. It's me and Jeff Shaw. You know, and so while my words do kind of start the groundwork, you know. You gotta leave room for people to fucking show the fuck off, you know, and there's, you know, we always say this thing about how comics can do shit that like films and stuff, you know, can't do, and like I feel like modern comics and stuff just don't fucking do that, you know. And I have nothing against whatsoever. I have nothing against, you know, very like. Talky comics or like introspective comics or like memoir comics or very personal things like that. Nothing against that stuff. And who knows? I might write something like that someday. But I really like. Let me just go off on a tangent really quick. I don't know how much time that we have here, but let me just go off on a tangent here. Okay, there is something to be said for movies that talk about politics and talk about the world as it is today and really make you think about stuff and really try and change your opinion, and like the Oscars, like the Oscar bait kind of things that are about like really hardcore serious things. I think that those are really fucking important. I also, sincerely, this is not a joke, I also really fucking think that the Fast and Furious franchise is really fucking important. And I'll tell you why. Because there's something to be said for, and I consider myself, my job is that I dig escape tunnels. Like, the world fucking sucks, and it's hard. And if I can, every week or every fucking month, if I can give you 22 pages to where you can fucking zone out and have fun and read a comic that takes you away from your life or your family or anything that's like causing you stress, then I've done my fucking job. And I think that that's really fucking important, you know? And so like that's what I'm talking about. It's just like, you know, comics should be fun, you know? And that's why Ryan Stegman and I just established this publishing press that's called Kids Love Chains, because the Kids Love Chains motto that Todd McFarlane said years ago, the meaning behind that term is like, yes, tell your personal stories and tell your politics and tell all that stuff. But remember, at the end of the day, ostensibly, this shit should be entertaining. And kids do love fucking chains, you know? So, like, have fun. Right. I guess is my whole fucking point. I don't know.
Which I can only assume is how Cosmic Ghost Rider came about.
You goddamn right.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you get pushback for that or no?
No. When I first started at Marvel, I sent Mark Paniccia, who is my first editor, I emailed him. Just a short email, and I said, "Hey, man, I have this weird idea in my head, but I need someone at Marvel who's like in like the brain trust who knows all the continuity stuff."
Right.
I was like, "Hey, has Frank Castle ever been Ghost Rider?" And he came back and he said, "I don't think so, but back away from that idea because that feels like something that someone should have done by now." And I was like, "Okay." And then my first Marvel gig was Thanos Wins.
Mm-hmm.
And so I asked, as I often do with Marvel, I asked for forgiveness instead of permission. And I just put this fucking character in there because I needed someone for old Thanos to send, because I couldn't reveal old Thanos, right? I needed someone to go and get him. And so I created Cosmic Ghost Rider. And what I always loved about like 90s comics and 80s comics, where they would introduce these new characters and you would never know who they were. It was like this big thing of like, oh, who's under the mask?
Right,
and stuff.
right.
And so I introduced this character and like no one knew who was under the mask. Except for the fact that, by the way, he had a huge fucking skull on his chest the entire time. And so as I was writing these scripts, I turned in issue, I think, 4 and revealed to my editors and everybody else that it was Frank Castle. Oh, no. That's not true. I told them that it was going to be Frank Castle. And they were like, "Donny, that doesn't make any fucking sense. What are you doing?" And I was like, no. Please read the script. Like, I promise it makes sense. And they read this script, and they were like, yeah, that's fucking dope. That makes sense. You know, because who likes vengeance more than fucking Frank Castle, right?
Nobody.
And so that was a blast. And I remember writing in that script of the origin story, I wrote a little note to my editor. I was like, "Hey, I'm having so much fun writing this guy. If this pops off, I would love, I would love to write a spinoff of this." And he wrote back, he was like, "Calm down, Haas. This is your first Marvel book ever. Let's see how it does." And then Thanos Wins came out, and then issues 1 through 4 went to 5 printings. And they were like, yeah, maybe we do a Cosmic Ghost Rider series. And then Cosmic Ghost Rider, the series, is the thing I'm the most proud of because I did 2 things that I can't believe I got away with. One, Frank Castle punches a baby in the face on panel,
yeah.
and Standards and Practices didn't flag it. And then later on in the series, when they're having a standoff, when like adult Thanos from another time period is threatening Frank Castle picks up baby Thanos and puts a fucking gun to his head. And is just like, "I'll fucking end this right now." And when I wrote it, I was like, "No way. There's no possible way that I'm gonna get Frank Castle putting a gun to a baby's head," and flew right through. No big deal. Yeah.
That's why I asked if you got blowback.
None at all. Yeah. It's one of my crowning achievements.
So, more crowning than your what I would deem legendary run on Venom. You would pick that over Venom?
Oh no, not at all. Venom has been my. Here's the thing. Todd McFarlane once told me. Todd McFarlane once told me that like as long as he lives, he's gonna be the Spider-Man guy.
Okay.
Like as much as Spawn has done his thing, but every show he goes to, it's gonna be Spider-Man. And like Jimmy Palmiotti once told me, and I love this quote. Someone brought him like a copy of Marvel Knights for him to sign.
Right.
And I saw him sign it, and I was like, "Is that weird for you? Like, it's such a that's like you've grown as an artist like so much since then." And he goes, "The only thing that's weird about it is that it's weird that there's still copies of Marvel Knights in the world that I haven't signed." And I feel that way about Venom. Like, I was like, haven't I signed all of them at this point? And here's the thing. I love the character. I have a tattoo of him. I've written more issues of that character than anyone in history. I feel like I've put my fingerprint on the character. You know, hopefully it'll last. You know, I'm not the kind of guy who gets like real like precious about it. Like if the next run comes in and like Eddie Brock wakes up from a dream and my arc never happened, I'm fine with that, because as long as they don't have a time machine, they can't get rid of my run, right? I'm fine. But yeah, man, like Venom is my thing, man. Like Venom is like as of so far, like yeah, I'm incredibly proud of what we did with that. My goal starting out with that book was that, like, you know, Punisher started out as a Spider-Man bad guy, and Wolverine started out as a Hulk bad guy. Right? But we don't think about those characters like that anymore. And I firmly thought since I was 13 years old that Venom doesn't need Spider-Man. That Venom can stand on his own. And now I am so unbelievably fucking proud that I was able to have to write not only one but two Marvel line-wide events that Venom was the lead fucking character in it and saved the world and was offered, like, Captain America offered him to be like part of the team and all these things like that. And like I've left him in a place where he's not Venom's, or he's not Spider-Man's shadow anymore. He's Venom.
He's a god.
You know,
now.
he's his own guy, and he's a son, and all these things. And it does mean a lot to me. So that is so far my new thing. But check out Hulk in October, because that's going to be a whole fucking thing. You're probably going to hate it. You're probably all going to hate it, and that's fine. I'll just make this really clear right now. I'm going to look right down the barrel of this camera. When you read a character like Superman, or when you read a character like Spider-Man, the emotion that you're supposed to have when you close that book is that of hope, and that of like sweetness and like all this like beautiful stuff, right? It is my idea that when you read a book like Hulk, that when you put it down, you should feel rage, that you should be pissed the fuck off. So that is what I'm trying to do. Every issue of Hulk that I write, I want all of you to be really fucking mad. And I'm going to lose a lot of you. And that's okay. But this is the Breaking Bad of Hulk. Like, you're going to be reading this book and you're going to be rooting for Bruce, but about 4 or 5 issues in, you're going to be like, I don't know if I like this dude anymore. I don't like it if I know what he's doing anymore. And so be prepared to be real fucking mad at me, because it's what I want you to do. I want you to be fucking mad at me.
You just made your next couple of conventions very fun. So I think that's all the time we got, man. It was kind of
I think I just sealed my fate enough. I still love all of you. I want you to have fun. I like how I went on an entire diatribe about how, like, comics should be fun, you should be happy, and then I'm like, I want you to hate my shit.
I'm going to ruin your character. Yeah, that's what it's, art's supposed to be challenging.
Comics should be the only way that art dies is by a yawn. If I piss you off or if I make you laugh, then I won.
If somebody loves or hates something you've done,
you've won. You've won.
100%.
If they're fucking bored, you've lost. And I promise you this: Donny Cates comics, you will never fucking be bored. I promise you that.
Truth. Well, that's all the time that we got today with the man, the myth, the legend, Donny Cates, as he storms off. We got more interviews. See you later. Bye.